Closing arguments are in, and voters heading to the polls. Polls are open here in Illinois, and they are closing at 7 p.m. Of course, if you're still in line, you should be able to cast a ballot. But top of the ticket is who's going to be the next president of the United States. And to talk more about this, somebody who's been watching it closely over in Washington, D.C., is the Center Square's Casey Harper, joining us here with Illinois in Focus Daily. Casey, thanks for taking time with us this morning. First time on the show. Looking forward to touching base with you more throughout, as, of course, it's expected to be pretty tumultuous heading into a new Congress. But before we get there, we've got this election today.
And interestingly, Greg, unlike past elections, over 75 million Americans have already voted. Now, this is reminiscent of COVID-level numbers, but it wasn't surprising that so many people voted early, mail-in ballot, etc. during COVID for obvious reasons. What we've seen, though, Greg, so that's so interesting, is 75 million votes. To put that in context, in 2020, former President Donald Trump, who of course is back on the ballot today, he received about 75 million votes in total. And current President Joe Biden at the time received about 81 million votes. So today is historic, but unlike 2016 or 2012 before it, or 2008, we already have 75 million votes cast before today. Trump is doing better with black voters than Republicans ever do, and Harris is doing worse with black voters than even someone like Hillary Clinton, Secretary of State, who ran, of course, in 2016, a white woman, doing better with black voters than Harris is, who, of course, would be the first black female president. So that's an interesting thing. Also, Trump is doing better with Hispanic voters. He's, the latest polling, it changes, of course, as polls do, and they have to be taken with a grain of salt. But he's doing about 45% with Hispanic voters, which is much better than, say, Mitt Romney did just a few years ago. So we've got these early voting has become such a huge part of these presidential campaigns. The matchup, in a word, Greg, is close. In a second word, it's closer. I mean, this is one of the closest elections that we've seen. There's no denying that both campaigns are anxiously awaiting the results tonight.